you have to take care of yourself, and you have to have financial stability, and you have to be able to take care of your family and whatever. But once you reach a certain point, everything else becomes about others, right? It can become about others because you don't have those basic needs anymore, right? So once you can define what that is, I think you gain a greater degree of freedom to doing things for others and making an impact, right?
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today, I'm with Faisal Hoque, an accomplished entrepreneur, senior executive, author, thought leader, public speaker, and advisor to management teams and board of directors with more than 25 years of cross-industry success. He is the founder of SHADOKA, NextChapter, and other companies. They focus on enabling sustainable and transformational changes. Faisal Hoque, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for having me, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here. You hold quite a few different hats, thought leadership in a variety of different organizations, a contributor to a variety of amazing publications. You're also the founder and managing partner of SHADOKA, which I'm excited to hear more about, as well as founder and chair of NextChapter. So a lot of different hats. Faisal, tell me a little bit about how you see sort of your role in what you're doing. What really are you excited about?
Look, I mean, first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur, right? And I come from the tech space. So I have had several iterations of technology entrepreneurship over the years, and had one or two successes, some miserable failures. And then along the way, writing has become a passion. So I've written a few books, anything from leadership, innovation, entrepreneurship, mindfulness, and transformation and technology. So I'm excited about each of these projects, as I call them, right? So my company, SHADOKA, which is in the commercial space, is in the enterprise software business that does a lot of work for the government and in the commercial sector as well. NextChapter is a research organization that I set up recently after I published the two books that just came out this year. Both of them made Wall Street Journal bestseller. One is called Lift, the other one is Everything Connects. I'm in general a very optimistic person, regardless of whatever happens. And I saw in your bio that you're very much involved in making, making the Wish Foundation. My son is a cancer survivor. So all the proceeds from my writing and stuff goes to kind of pledged it to cancer research. I get excited for a lot of different things, but there's a commercial side to it, and there's a humanity and non-commercial side to whatever I do. And another thing I love is travel, food, and people. Culture, food, people, and food. It kind of runs in my brain. As I was sharing with you, I've been to your part of the world and other parts of the world, and people makes me excited.
That's incredible. And how did you get started with all this work?
Like you, I was actually a computer engineering student. I came up with a base product, way back in late 80s, early 90s, and that was for financial sector. But I ended up working for Pitney Bowes and Dun & Bradstreet, and after that, I started building these complex enterprise software and started my first company, and then it just went from there. And and as I grew older, your interests change, the way you want to make an impact change, the kind of people you want to work with change. So last 5 years, post my last company after I exited my last company, I kind of wanted to work with our government, meaning U.S. government. So I've been doing a lot of work in that space, and the writing. This is my sixth or seventh book, so it just keeps drumming along in the background as passion project.
Incredible. And so when you're looking, tell me a little bit more about SHADOKA and the next chapter and how these things intertwine for your journey.
Sure. So SHADOKA, when I started SHADOKA, that was almost 8 years ago. I wanted to take a lot of my learning from private sector, which I've done in the past. I've worked with a lot of very big brands like GE and Pepsi and Northrop Grumman, Amex, etc., and bring those learning of how to transform an organization to primarily for public sector. So I've developed this methodology, and I teamed up with a organization called CACI International, which is a federal government contractor in U.S. And I've been working exclusively with them for our public sector. And I have a piece of methodology and a piece of software that allows organizations to assess where they are and how they move to the next level of optimization and modernization, utilizing the analytics that you get as a result of utilizing that software. So that's that business. NextChapter is, as I said, it's a recent organization. I had a research think tank in my previous life. This is kind of a restart of that. I've kind of started this after I wrote Lift, which came out earlier this year. And the goal of NextChapter is taking the best practice knowledge from various parts of the world in the area of leadership, innovation, and transformation, and put them in the form of books and educational program, and push it out to as many people as possible. So I've teamed up with Fast Company as my publishing arm. And then I'm, for NextChapter and now developing a series of digital courses that are kind of very documentary style teaching, visual, very much follows a visual learning process. And they're all around, as the world has changed because of pandemic and fourth industrial revolution and climate change and, all the misinformation that we see in the world. How do you prepare yourself as next generation leaders, and how do you, make an impact in a very digitized world, but at the same time be very grounded in mindfulness, empathy, and really, caring about others and making an impact, not just squarely focus on creating value from making more money. So it has kind of that kind of a back note to whatever we're doing. And so we did a couple of major research projects this year. And then next year, the next one that comes out is called Reinvent. That's around business transformation, but business transformation in the era of digital transformation. The digital technology that we see everywhere and anywhere these days.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about sharing leadership and disseminating information and making an impact that way. And so, what does that what does it entail, and how do you think through, making the most impact through text, documentaries, different asynchronous mechanisms to help promote leadership innovation with this information?
Look, I think we can learn from anyone and everyone, right? I'm a firm believer of that, and I've done exactly that, and from all walks of the world, all walks of life, and some in tech space, some in non-tech space. Actually, my first mentor was a janitor in my college. So I love to learn from anybody and everybody. Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, technologies. Learning is in my vein. So what I've decided to do is that, very early on, that whatever I learn, I want to kind of share that. And it has no really any kind of a monetary goal out of this. I'm not a typical author, consultant, speaker type that's where my core role, is making, a living by doing that. It's purely from the notion of learning and sharing. And I think it's only by sharing that we can impact the next generation, because history is a great teacher, and if we learn the history, we kind of get prepared for during the present time that can impact future, right? So I look at everything from that angle, and I've been a voracious reader, and try to write as much as I can and share, and that's kind of my way of one way of contributing, aside from classical way of value creation, and then doing philanthropic things or whatnot. But I think there's no greater gift than sharing and teaching and learning.
Phenomenal. And so, if you're looking at your own passion for affecting change and being a leader, where do you think that came from for you? I'd love to just understand this mind just a little bit better about where all this motivation and passion coming from.
I think we all have some innate abilities, and you have to tap into whatever that ability is based on whatever that you want to do, right? So once you figure that out, then you can get passionate about making an impact in all sorts of ways. So my passion, drive, curiosity, joy comes from those the triangular effect, meaning who I am, what I want to do, and whatever am I doing, does it have any kind of impact? And by impact, by the way, I don't mean that you have to change the world. You can make an impact to one person's life, the people that you work with, or people who works for you, your family, your community. You can make an impact in whatever small way, and that's enough. So I've always looked at things from that point of view. So ability to make an impact and have a little spark, give somebody a little spark in their lives is gives me the greatest joy. So I've been kind of always, following that kind of path. I don't think I ever done anything, and it's maybe counterintuitive as an entrepreneur. Is it really going to make money? Yes, you need to make money because without money you cannot economically cannot be viable and sustainable. But my goal has never been that if I do this, I want to make X amount of dollar or gain economic gain, and that's the driver. It's been always some sort of an impact. Is it going to really have any impact that will that will do somebody some good?
Right. So talk to me about making an impact, as a sort of an idea for other leaders. If I'm looking at myself as as a growing leader, what are different ways that I can think about making a significant impact to the work that I do? You touched on one key concept that making an impact doesn't necessarily need to mean right now trying to change the world, which could sway somebody from saying, okay, no, then this is not a core focus of mine because I'm not equipped right now to change the world. But you're mentioning, but even changing a person's life is making a huge impact. So what are the different things from your perspective do young leaders like myself can keep in mind as we go around our positions, our days, and the work that we do to make a strong impact?
Look, I mean, you can define impact multitudes of ways, and as you gain experience and you have more resources, both from a knowledge and contacts and otherwise, you can make different kind of impact. So one impact is obviously whatever you can do as a person at that particular moment in front of like you and I. This conversation may actually impact somebody, right? That is an impact, right? And it will last beyond this momentary conversation that we're having, right? So that's one kind of impact. If you come up with a product that has the ability to change somebody's, not somebody, but a large community's, the way they live, or the way they work, or the way they learn, or way they, enhance their livelihood. If you can come up with a product or a service that is also an impact, right? So you can take on many different, ways of impact creation. If you make a lot of money and you donate to charity, that could survive somebody's lives, right? That's also an impact. So I don't think there's one definition of impact. There's many ways to make an impact, and it's not one is better than other. It's impact is an impact, and it's solely driven by your goals, your aspiration, and your ability. And I don't think you can measure that. Just like the best way to improve is measuring yourself against yourself. I think measuring impact is, have you done your best to do some good? That's how I look at impact.
Right, measuring yourself and how good, what good you do, and then keeping that as a relative measure, not necessarily with others. As you're writing, you write a lot, and some of the really the inspiring part of your journey that really touched me was how much content you put out there and the thoughts you put down. What's been most useful for you as you've been successfully writing a lot of these ideas and disseminating this information? Because it requires quite a bit of diligence to do it so thoughtfully and so rigorously.
Look, I mean, when you do that, I've actually written an article that's why writing is so important. I think when you write, it also helps you to kind of frame your thought process and what is it that you want to do and how you want to do it, where do you want to do it. So there's a reverse impact on you if you write, right? And if you think from a purely commercial point of view, entrepreneurial point of view, writing allows you to build a brand, and it gives you a following. So it's easier to talk to people and easier to kind of establish yourself as a leader, whatever field that you may be in. But I mean, it really gives you, there's a huge impact on yourself. It allows you to connect your past with your present and your future. It allows you to kind of learn who you are and what is it that you can do with the capabilities that you may have developed as time goes on. Right.
And so as you continue with your journey, what is your vision today if you're looking down the line?
So, if you asked me this when I was in my 20s, I would give you one answer. Now that I'm in my 50s, early 50s, my answer is very different. Whatever I'm doing is purely from yes, I need to make a living, but it's purely driven by whatever am I doing, does it have any meaning to anybody? So if I'm writing something, is it going to make any difference to somebody if they read it? And if I'm building a product, is it going to make an organization better than what they are today? So it's purely driven from that point of view. I don't have a particular goal per se, as I had in my 20s, when I said, well, look, I'll call myself successful when my company becomes a $30 million company or a $100 million company. I don't have that kind of aspiration anymore.
Wow. Okay. Well, it definitely sounds like something that hugely relevant for so many people, young people that just like myself are listening to this are, we're thinking as to what are our goals and what are our inspirations. And I'm going to leave with, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, my last word about all this is that, look, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to have financial stability, and you have to be able to take care of your family and whatever. But once you reach a certain point, everything else becomes about others, right? It can become about others because you don't have those basic needs anymore, right? So once you can define what that is, I think you gain a greater degree of freedom to doing things for others and making an impact, greater impact for the society beyond yourself.
100%. I think that it's already pretty common knowledge, with the different studies that show that once you've reached a certain salary or a certain compensation, I don't remember the exact number, maybe it was $80,000 a year or something. Yes. And obviously it depends on your personal constellation, but there is a certain threshold, which is traditionally lower than what the average, tenacious person would imagine their aspirations should be financially, where after that point, your happiness levels don't actually necessarily go up in correlation with more money. and fulfillment comes perhaps from impact with others. So I can definitely see what you're talking about. And it sounds like if we all shared this collective vision and this collective understanding, then that a lot of things would be better off, because everybody would be much more involved with the community, and create sort of this ripple and butterfly effect. And Faisal, I really want to thank you. And I appreciate you coming on this podcast. It was really fantastic. And I really look forward to sharing this with friends and family. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Michael. Appreciate it very much.